By the way, here's an interesting one. Country music artist John Rich. This is pretty wild. I'd never heard this story before, but you had to know it was going on in some way, shape, or form. John Rich tells the story of when President Trump asked him, why do they boo me when I bring up the vaccine? John Rich did not pull any punches, according to his story here in clip 3.
Trump gets through eating, and you've seen him do this move right here.
Yeah.
Wherever in the big boardroom he does this. Okay, that's what he does. He goes, can I ask you a question, John Rich? He never calls me John. John Rich? I look at him, I go, yes, sir. What's the question? He goes, well, you do a lot of big shows. Like, you're an entertainer? Yes, sir. You play for really big crowds? I go, I do. I play for really big crowds for a long time. He goes, well, have you seen these rallies I'm doing? Like, it's 30, 40,000 people. I said, yeah, it's unbelievable. He goes, so here's the question. Why are people booing me at my rallies when I bring up the vaccine? This is the question from the President of the United States. A guy who is very proud at that moment of the fact that he was able to stomp the gas pedal and get that thing out because he's under the impression this is going to fix the problem.
Operation Warp Speed.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a guy who, to his own admission, one of the biggest egos on the earth.
Yeah.
And he's very proud of this. And I respect him to, there is no limit.
Right.
But I'm being asked a very direct question. And so, man, I looked at him and I said, okay, I'm going to tell you the answer and you're not going to like it. He goes, okay, what's the answer? You're going to look at me like this? I said, let me start off by saying this. We, the American people, do not trust the people that you were forced to trust at the time when this was happening. Let's start there. And I said, by the people we don't trust, here's who I mean. The FDA, the CDC, the NIH, the WHO, Fauci, and all the rest of them. I said, Mr. President, we consider them to be a bunch of murderous, depopulationist psychopaths.
And his reaction was...
That's a good way to start.
His eyes are, he goes, unbelievable. Unbelievable. He's stunned. No, he is stunned that I said that. I said, now, let me tell you why they're booing you. I said, because all of them, including me, I said, I would boo you. I would boo you.
Did you really? You did not.
I would boo you.
Really?
If you brought that up, and here's why. And he's looking at me, and I'm thinking to myself, this is the last time this guy's going to invite me to anything.
Yeah.
He's never going to call me again. I'm throwing massive shade on a former president's, in his mind, one of his biggest accomplishments. And it dawned on me, nobody had told the man what I was telling him right now, because they all work for him. They all got something to gain from him. They're not going to tell him this because they're not serving him well. I don't work for him. And I think a lot of him.
So you see, we're not afraid of debate. And, you know, another interesting point that he makes there is I think Trump probably does need more people in his ear and around him that aren't just kissing his butt all day long, but are willing to tell him some of the hard truths, maybe some of the things he can't see or hear or doesn't want to. And that's what another thing John Rich was talking about right there. It's like, hey, I don't work for him. I don't have to kiss his butt. And I'm going to tell the truth no matter what it costs me, because that's more important. Now, the other news developing today